Hello, dear readers. This is the B-Side Book Reviews, and today we are going to get in touch with your history geek side with the Travels of Marco Polo. Oh, indeed. This long hair and beard is making me feel all, I don't know, history professorly anyway. Come to think of it, my college history professor didn't have a beard. He didn't have much hair at all, come to think of it. He did wear a jacket, and he did smoke a pipe. Actually, that was American history. My world history teacher was a woman, and she didn't have a beard. She might have smoked a pipe. I don't know. She was kind of different. Anyway, grab yourself a cup of coffee and let's take a look at The Travels of Marco Polo, written by Marco Polo. For all of us world history geeks, Marco Polo is just not some swimming pool game that children play. A game which I have never played or quite understood for that matter. As many of us know, Marco Polo was a Venetian who took a trip that basically changed the world. Now our adventure begins when a teenage Marco meets his father for the first time, and his own mind says, "Hey kid, have you ever been to China? Wow, you'll love the food." Now, I'm not sure Marco realized that he was going to be gone for 24 years. Apparently, though, the trip was well worth missing his senior prom, because not only did he hang out in China, but the Middle East, India, a few islands, including Japan, and a wee little bit of Russia. Basically, he saw pretty much everything east of Italy. And I have a feeling he wasn't spending all his time staying in the hotel room watching cable either. And don't think that Marco was leaving the modern world of Venice to visit some backward Stone Age land. Oh no! These folks in Asia were quite the imaginative souls and had come up with some pretty nifty ideas that the Europeans hadn't quite figured out yet. Yes, like paper money, for instance. So, I'm guessing they also coined the phrase money to burn. Now, speaking of burning, or not burning, apparently asbestos was also a big find for Mr. Polo. Ooh, wow, something that doesn't burn. Ooh dear, it must be witchcraft. No, not witchcraft, Marco, but it can give you cancer. Yeah, he probably should have left that one alone. However, one of the coolest things that our traveler found was silk. And this great secret of Asia later became a Victorian secretive source for the Western world. With this find, all Italian women could now have righteous undies. Now, this wasn't the only way Marco spiced up the Europeans, for his other great find was spices. Apparently, this was before all those zesty Italian dishes that Olive Garden serves were around, because Marco acted as if he had found bars of gold when the subject of spices here came in about his travels. Yes, gold is okay and all, but Italian food without oregano or basil? Apparently, being a spice girl back in those days was more than just belonging to some lame 90s pop band. Indeed. Now, with all of this talk of spices, you'd think that Marco would elaborate on the true jewel of China. The food! But never once did he mention cashew chicken or moo gai pan. Never once. I guess he just thought that the politics of all of these places he visited would make for better reading. Now Marco found out that the top dog of the political world was the great Kublai Khan, who seemed to have his grasp on just about everywhere our traveler visited. Yes, this Kublai guy not only had an obsession for having massive ruling power, but he seemed to like his women in the masses as well. Of course, just the natural wonders of Asia would have been enough to hold my interest. Sure, Marco had mountains in Italy, but did he have the freaking Himalayas? Did he have elephants? Rhinos? Camels? Yetis? I think not. He also mentioned these really cool white bears up north. And these even cooler orange lions with black stripes. Yes. But what's not so cool is the fact when Marco returned home after 24 years, he discovered that his hometown of Venice was at war with, I'm going to pronounce it here, Genoa! Yes, Genoa! And as a welcome home party, he was tossed into prison as a prisoner of war. Wow. Talk about your post-vacation blues. Indeed. If you're looking for a book that really gives an insight of Marco Polo, the man, well, this probably isn't going to be it. Marco was writing about his travels and not so much about himself. But he did give us plenty of info of what he found. So we'll just let our imagination fill in the rest of the story. Now we have to remember, this is a guy who is in his teens, 20s, and 30s. So, I'm guessing the fine silks he found in the lands weren't the only things he was running his fingers over. Yes, apparently there were babes galore, even though he never really dishes out any of the juicy details here. However, I do recall him mentioning one region where the women seemed to know a few tricks that might have been a bit foreign to the Western world. Yes, I'm guessing Marco had stumbled across the ancient art of Kama Sutra. No wonder it took the guy 24 years to get back home. Yes! So, when Marco Polo returned to Europe, he brought with him silks, spices, and tales of imaginative women who were quite limber. No wonder everyone was all gung-ho about finding their ways to the Indies. Yes! Can't say I blame him. In a way, this book is a bit like a travel guide. It's written in short little chapters describing each region Marco wandered into, or the significant events that might have been going on there. Then he'd briefly touch on the details, like these guys were idolaters, a word that we find a lot in this book. Yes, I'm guessing he ran across a few Buddhas and Shivas relics. Surprisingly enough, Marco did run across a lot of Christians through his travels. After all, St. Thomas met his end in these parts. Now, even though I've always heard that the disciple died the death of a martyr, Marco tells how Thomas might have caught a stray arrow from a peacock hunter. My biggest shock from this was, people actually hunt peacocks? Yes, Marco would note how these people were idol worshippers, while these people were not. These guys were flesh eaters, and these guys ate each other's flesh, while these other guys here didn't eat much flesh at all. Lots of cool animals over here, lots of vicious violence over there. Yeah. Or he'd throw in a few helpful tidbits like, you might want to avoid messing around with the local women here, because they hold their virginity like a religion, and the men there respected and demanded purity in their brides. However, in other places, the guys were more partial to the girls who been around the block a time or two and desired wives who had a little experience under their belt. So basically, the women there were fair game. I wonder how he knew that. Sometimes Marco would just say there was nothing much going on in this region, so it was like, next. We have to take into account that there were not any cameras back in those days, so there was no vacation photos to show everyone once you got back home. Back then, you pretty much had to get a canvas and paint and do your vacation pics that way. So it was a whole lot easier just to write a book about it. Now, the footnotes are certainly worth reading, though, because Marco tended to get a bit clouded at times. These notes would read something like, Polo could have been confused on his whereabouts here, for the region he is describing is nothing like the land he was actually in. Or, and by the way, the striped lion that Polo is referring to here was more than likely a tiger. Okay, I kind of figured that one out on my own. But it's nice to be informed. Now we're throwing a 24-year vacation into 277 pages here. Now that had to take a little restraint on our author's part. Yes, I once wrote 10 pages about a 2-night stay at a casino. And I wasn't exploring new worlds, meeting new cultures, living it up with world leaders and betting hot young Asian women. I was just losing money. Just imagine the kind of internet video travel blog Marco could have had. Of course, I'm sure Marco felt that saying too much would have been all too redundant. Let's see, we wandered into a new place today. Yep, more silks, more spices, more jade. Everyone still seems to have issues with this Kubla Khan guy. Yep. Still looking for that blonde. I can't imagine logging around a journal for 24 years. But I'm guessing he didn't write all of this from memory though. I have to wonder if there was some 5,000 page book that never made it to the publisher. Come on! There was a mini-series about his travels back in the 80s. And I'm not really seeing a mini-series in this book. Maybe a movie. Don't know. Yes, that was the Travels of Marco Polo. Indeed. So, do you feel enlightened now? I feel enlightened. So go read a book and be more enlightened. Or whatever you want to do.